If she got red hair, it's got to be the green skin.
Yep. All right, here's how we're going to do this. Last show of the day. This is our Rando Calrissian, part fucking whatever it is. We're going to start with our guest of honor. And everyone's going to get to answer one, but everyone gets to chime in right afterwards. Aron, pick a number between 1 and 100.
12.
This is a direct reference to the, what was it? Evergreen State University. I think it's in Washington. Yeah, they put on a play once a year called Day of, they actually have a Day of Absence. Let me give you a little preface to this. They have a day, it used to be called a Day of Absence, where all people of color would leave the college this day to show everyone else what it would be like to live without them. So a couple years ago, I think it was about a couple years ago, they changed it to a Day of Presence, to where they stayed and they asked that, they didn't really ask, they ordered that every non-person of color leave campus, including TJ, for this episode, I'm going to have to ask that you keep it as civil as possible because I want everyone to walk out of here with a handshake. All right. So Day of Presence was every non-person of color. Oh, Tilden's already covering his head. All right. Every non-person of color leave campus. There was one professor that refused to. He was, of course, it was Brett Weinstein. Brett Weinstein. All right. So I'm going to ask. It was based on a play that they gave every year. I forget the name of the play, but it dealt with the Day of Absence. The play was all people of color, and they all wore whiteface. The ones that had to play the white parts, they wore whiteface. So my question to you is, do you believe a play or any other theatrical or cinematic piece of art that includes a person of color wearing whiteface, do you believe that to be racist?
Well, by definition, if you have one group that is typically subjugated or has the prejudice visited against it by a dominant group, then reversing that role to the dominant group is not a racist act. Right. It's kind of like appropriation, the same thing. Yeah. If the dominant culture appropriates the garb of the subjugated or what is the opposite of dominant in this case? They're not dominating, they're dominated, or they're but it's not necessarily it's not willful. Yeah, we're not talking about subservient. We're not talking about submissive. We certainly don't want to say inferior, but we're talking about people that are being dominated by a dominant culture. So the ones that are not dominant, I think, is the only way to say this. If they adopt the garb of the dominant culture, that is not appropriation. It's only appropriation when the dominant culture does it. To the other.
Does everyone agree over here?
I do.
Okay, so I know someone doesn't disagree, so I'm going to go to him if you don't.
There's an entire, there's a lot on YouTube about that, too, of, explaining the difference in cultural appropriation by definition in different groups. Like, you'll have a Bollywood movie that's being, made by Americans, and that's considered cultural appropriation. But there was an example of another cultural appropriation, which was a Bollywood movie that was made to take place in America, in New York. And there was supposed to be a depiction of American lives, and it's not of the same taste. It's sort of it's still considered cultural appropriation, but it's a different context, and it's not considered culturally abhorrent.
It seems inappropriate that everybody in this room is white to be talking about this subject.
Definitely.
But I mean, I just want to say that there was a time when I had no idea about race issues whatsoever. When there was a time in my youth when I actually thought it was a clever argument to say, well, why don't we have white entertainment television? Yeah. When I thought that actually made sense. Of course, since people have explained it to me and I have understood, so I've changed my perspective on that, and I'm embarrassed that I ever held those kind of positions where I thought that was clever once upon a time.
Also, when white people put on blackface, they also do the let's say
The stereotypical black mannerisms?
mannerisms
That's
of
cultural
the
appropriation, yeah.
right.
But
So-
do people of color that put on whiteface, do they do white mannerisms?
I don't know, what would a white mannerism be?
Well, I can tell you in this play they actually do. They quote unquote act white. I don't
I've
for
seen
whatever that
white
means.
I've seen
I
it.
watch Friends.
Yeah, we don't have a culture because we're
No,
white.
we'll get to you, TJ. You're going to be the counterpoint to this whole thing.
I saw somebody yesterday in a video that was a stand-up comedian from
No,
India,
you're white. You don't
and
have
he
a culture.
starts speaking in an American accent because he's making fun of this American girl that he knows. But as I said, when you have a dominant culture that is domineering over everybody else, then whatever we appropriate as the dominant culture, because it is the dominant culture, or the one that has all the privilege, right? That's. Excuse me.
All right, here we go. Now,
but
here-
one other thing.
okay. I'm sorry.
No. We're going
Tilden.
to have a conversation.
Okay,
Yeah.
now Tilden.
One other group of people that put on whiteface are mimes. So
Okay, that's different.
Well, that's
all right,
That's white people. You know, they're French.
Tilden.
don't have to be.
I mean, TJ. Remember, Atheist Edge. We're about building bridges, so make sure that everyone walks out of here shaking hands. All right. All right.
I don't agree with the power plus privilege definition of racism.
We didn't even bring that up.
No,
But it was
he did.
implied.
Aaron did.
It was implied.
Yeah. Well, it was implied. But yeah, I don't hold with that definition. I
Is it possible to be racist if you're not in a position of power?
Of course it is.
You and I are the only ones.
Because the definition
in
of
this room that
racism
think
is
that.
thinking that one race is superior to another.
You and I are the only two in this room that think that.
Yeah, well, the problem is that the difference is we have a subgroup. So my wife, who has Vietnamese ancestry, is very is much more in tune on racial matters than I am. Has explained about systemic racism. Systemic racism.
Remember,
What
it's,
system is? What's? Can you point to the
Jim
system?
doesn't really understand what that means.
That's what I was talking about.
What-
The power versus.
well, this is what Ben Shapiro would say. I'm going to channel him, even though I don't agree with 70% of what he says. He would say right now, could you please describe to me the system, when you say systemic or institutionalized racism, please describe to me the system or the institution that is keeping these people down.
And this is where I think it's inappropriate for a group of white people to be having this.
Do we still have a right to an opinion?
Yeah, but I could also be, and it has happened in the past, as I've just explained. My opinion has been invalidated by my own ignorance. So I had to be instructed on this. It didn't matter what I knew. I had to have somebody else who's already lived this experience explain this to me. I wouldn't know anything about racist issues if I didn't have somebody who was non-white explain these matters to me.
Here's
Because
devil's,
I think that's
here's
incredibly
devil's
bigoted.
advocate.
How is that bigoted?
No,
To tell someone that their opinion doesn't matter simply because they don't belong to a group.
let me throw this
Is
in,
that what I said?
Aaron.
No, it's not what he said.
Let me throw this in here as devil's advocate. I have never been atheist. Would it be inappropriate for me to speak out against theism?
Oh my God.
Oh, is that not a good segue? Is that not a good analogy?
That is a perfect
Okay.
analogy.
All right,
Yeah, it
never
is.
mind.
No, they're just saying it isn't because it runs counter to their narrative.
TJ,
It is exactly
we should not have
appropriate.
this discussion.
Yes, we should. As long as it ends in
No,
a
really,
handshake.
we can't. We're not the people to have this.
Yeah,
discussion.
we're not. We don't have a representative of
I
a
think,
group that
well,
is
TJ and I would disagree, but if you want to go ahead and put a...
No, I'm serious. I don't see where honestly, that
It
this
can't go
can't go anywhere good.
Okay.
Just gonna,
TJ, pick 1 to 100.
Oh my God, TJ.
You've never got to pick, have you?
I've never got to pick. What?
Holy shit, you've never got to pick in all this time.
If
Oh,
my wife
wait.
were here-
Oh my God, TJ, what?
Would she be able to speak for
Oh,
you?
fuck.
Nothing.
Would
She'd
you?
never speak another word if she was in the room.
Well, is that a good or a bad thing?
Don't think
Does he
that-
get
She
a
would
say?
speak another word if I was in the room because I would
Okay.
make him understand what I had to listen to from her about everything he said all the way fucking home.
Oh,
I get you. All right, 1 to 100.
And don't make her upset with you because then I'll just back
right.
up and
because
giggle.
Don't so much as have the temerity to disagree with her, right?
Oh, you can disagree with people who are right. You just understand what position that puts you in.
It's weird being against Aron. We were so with
No,
him so
no, I
much.
mean,
I'm
there's nothing
totally
wrong. No,
in disagreement
we're
with him right
we're
now.
just-
You and I are the only
You're
ones.
welcome to be
We're just
wrong.
talking.
It's
too.
okay.
We just need somebody more qualified.
No, I
than
think
you
it's
to
a good
explain
thing that
why.
we disagree. You know, it means I'm not a sycophant. That I'm not
Okay.
sucking you up.
Jim,
I think
all
we-
he's saying is that there's a false equivalency when all of us debate each other rather than having someone who's an actual representative of one of those different groups.
That is a decent point. I'll give you that one. Thank you.
And thank you, because I thought that's what I
That's
thought I
a-
was saying.
I know.
Yeah, I think you
have to
said.
repeat things with these guys.
Oh shit. Okay, pick a number.
Camera?
Make it a good one.
My bad.
You're on audio right now, but yeah.
Okay, wait.
All right. 1 to 100. Oh, I think probably someone's already done that. I bet.
Probably.
It was probably Richard Carrier.
How about?
Even-
how about
I'm sure.
Wait. But
We have
how
an
about?
idea.
How about?
I'm sure it was Richard Carrier because he's a slut.
Probably, yeah.
Wait, no, it has not been done. You want 69?
Yeah.
Well,
Doesn't everybody?
Was that on audio?
I get to be on modern because I'm lazy.
so do you want a 69?
Don't threaten me with a good time.
Patreon.
What would a world populated by clones of just T.J. Tuttle look like?
Look like?
Like,
Well,
no.
incredibly
How
handsome.
would that world? How would that world get along? Would it get along? Would it get along better? Would the economy be better? Would the government be better? Would society be better? Would the climate be better? All that.
I'll tell you how it would get
The
along.
entire world is populated by clones of you.
I'll tell you how it would get along. It would get along voluntarily.
Libertarian.
Freedom of association, personal liberties. Basically, you do what you do you as long as you don't harm others.
John Stuart Mill. Your freedoms end at the end of your fist.
Yeah, my freedom to swing my arm ends at your nose.
Ooh, good. Anyone else? Counterpoints? A clone of just you. Would it be better or worse? How would it be different?
You're talking about TJ's?
No, your own clones.
No, if it was just you, then I guess.
Well, I feel like that would be a very unrealistic world because we will create diversity even with being clones. So we're still going to have in-group, out-group.
Diversity of
Oh, I don't know.
thought.
If the world was entirely populated by clones of me, obviously homosexuality would be the norm.
Right.
Yeah, you'd have to because you wouldn't have any other choice, right? Yeah.
But you know.
Oh, let me caveat
the
that then.
instant absence of.
There would be
religion-
male and female versions of you. How about that?
Well, even better. So parties would be better. But anyway, so instant absence of religion and war, of course, and then everybody would be environmentalists, so that would be nice. And we would stop dumping plastics into the ocean. That would be great. You know, we would actually do something about climate change. That'd be nice. Yeah, I think,
Scrub some of the CO2 out of the atmosphere?
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit of that
We have
shit?
industries that
Well, you know,
would be
water
sucking
vapor
those
is the
out.
biggest
We
greenhouse
wouldn't
gas.
be
not CO2.
mass producing beef anymore. So I mean,
No.
even though
95%.
objectively steak is the best tasting thing on the planet, we would stop
I saw
deforesting
you-
in order to.
I saw you eat a Beyond Burger the other day, and you liked it because you smiled.
Yeah, but steak is still
Beyond
better
burger.
than burger.
You couldn't taste the difference if I blindfolded you, could you?
Is burger a steak?
No, it's ground steak. If it's good,
It's ground
quality.
beef, but steak is a cut that tastes
Did
different.
you like the
than-
Beyond Burger or not?
I did like the Beyond Burger.
Would you
partially
eat it
because of too much salt. I do think that they put too much salt in it for flavoring. But steak, a cut of steak, still tastes better than ground beef. Period.
I don't want to have a moral argument against
It is. It is. And I got into this argument with a vegan who says, I just agree, just right up front. Steak is the best tasting thing ever. And I'm like, okay, well, there goes my argument then. So, so the fact that it
but
tastes.
not to everybody. Like some people get grossed out by it.
Some people do, but yeah, that's not my case. And if the best that I could say is, well, this tastes good, that's not a legitimate argument. And if the other person concedes right off the bat that you're right, steak tastes better than everything, okay, I'm done. There was all my arguing points.
I think we agree on that.
No, we don't.
I agree with you on. See, I do agree with people
I don't want to get
on
on a
some
vegetarian
things.
kick. I'm not going to.
This is where we actually part ways, Jim, me and you.
No, we've already argued vegetarianism out the ass.
No,
All right,
yeah,
Tilden, 1 to 100.
I didn't necessarily say vegetarianism.
Okay, if we got to where lab-grown meat was as same consistent, you couldn't tell the difference, and it was the same price, would you just switch to that for ethical reasons?
The criteria doesn't have to be that you
But
can't
it'd have to be the same.
Okay,
it'd have
so
to be
there
the
are a
same.
number of ways of getting protein, and one of them is by farming and processing crickets, for example. And I've had a number of meals made of crickets, and I'm okay with that, except that it's an awful lot of work to clean them. Especially if you're going to make a meal for adults. You know, the amount of
I mean,
crickets.
I'm definitely anti-factory farming, but
Yes.
it's hard to get off of. It's hard to break the habit of it. Because they don't make it easy for us.
What we have now is, you remember in the Matrix, they have to eat this like white
goop. Yep.
Right? And this has got everything the body needs. Well, now we have the technology that we can actually manufacture food that's completely artificial, but it can all be plant-based, and it can have all the protein and everything that we want in it. We can manufacture food. We can grow food to where we don't have to process people. We can do factory farms as far as agriculture, where we can house the whole thing inside of a multi-story building on hydroponic farms. We can be much more efficient, much more productive. Right, and we don't have to farm the way that we do. We could turn the environment back to the animals. If we could only control our own breeding, that would be helpful.
The big food industry, though, also doesn't make it easy for us. They put sugar in shit that doesn't need sugar to keep us hooked on it.
In this country,
they do all kinds. Yeah, they do all kinds of shit.
Have you compared the ingredients between European products and American products of the same brand name?
Generally, if it's white, it's bad because like refined
Enriched
sugar,
or
enriched
processed.
flour, stuff that's like stuff that's a simple carb that they keep us
I'm
hooked
talking
on
about
because-
animals that are suffering in factories and suffering during the death procedure. That's what I'm talking about. I don't want things to feel pain.
Or terror. Yeah, and
They know when they're going to that abattoir.
And then here's a problem that I had. My daughter had a pig, a pet pig, and we have this pig in the house, and it makes it a little hard to eat pork.
Little?
When you get to know a
Bacon
pig,
is so good, though.
right? So
Is it possible I could talk you
Fucking
into
bacon, right? God damn.
Is it possible that one day I could talk you into just giving up bacon?
Yes, I can give up. I could give up meat. Now it means that I would have to have something.
I was going to
that's not
segue
just-
into somewhat green, but I think I'll
be.
pass on that.
I don't want to necessarily discount any options.
So
We are grossly overpopulated. It would be efficient.
well, I mean, eating something in the house is what I'm.
Anyone else have something to add to this?
I don't want to ever get.
There's a side note. If you can lab grow beef, you can also lab grow human meat. Would you at least try it just to see what it tastes like?
Ew,
No, there's a genetic.
It's not real human.
I
It's
know,
just
I-
lab
Bear in
grown.
mind.
Would you do
Bear
it?
in mind
Would
that
you do it?
cannibals.
I feel like I couldn't get through.
Cannibals describe human flesh as called long pork
Long pork, long
because
pig.
they said it tastes like
pork.
bacon.
Bacon.
Would you try lab grown human meat?
Wow.
I don't think I could stomach it, but I was listening to something on NPR the other day about the Beyond Burger and the Impossible Burger. The Beyond Burger, or the Impossible Burger, is now at Burger King.
It's at Carl's Jr. too.
They have the
And
Impossible
one of
Whopper.
those is now the #1 food item in the United States already.
Well, so it's engineered to be a replacement for meat eaters because it's so close to meat that vegetarians are usually grossed out by it. So it's marketed and designed to be a legitimate replacement for meat, and it actually uses a similar, same protein that's in meat. It's like something that's been extracted in a lab to have the same effect where it bleeds and it's has the same texture and the same flavor. It's interesting, yeah.
The blood in it is beet juice. It actually bleeds like rare
has
That's the
actual
Beyond
beef.
Burger.
Beyond
So
Burger.
The
Okay,
Beyond
yeah.
Burger is
Beet juice.
Beet juice, but
It looks like a rare
But the
hamburger.
Impossible Burger, it has what you said.
It has heat.
Yeah.
Has what?
Heat.
which
What
is
the hell is
It's
that?
the iron-based molecule that your blood is built on.
Holy
hemoglobin.
shit!
So it actually does, like, it behaves a lot like meat. And so, again, the reason for it is to replace legitimate meat for meat eaters, instead of being something that's a substitute for vegetarians, because vegetarians don't want the flavor of meat usually. And I've experienced that myself when I was a pescatarian. I didn't want a flavored burger. And so
I miss meat though. I've been a vegetarian 6 years. I miss meat.
Yeah, well, it took me 2 years to miss meat again, but I did it, and now I eat meat again. But so it's designed to be a healthier option. It's not some depending on what it's made out of. It's usually healthier than like a meat, but it's not as healthy as like just a vegetable alternative. But yeah, so it's interesting. It's an interesting debate because it's designed to be a replacement for people who want to eat less meat but still love meat and who are meat eaters.
I could eat nothing but meat every day. And matter of fact, I have gone years at a time without eating any vegetables at all, except to flavor the meat, because I have to concede, capsaicin comes from vegetables, and that's what I flavor everything with. So, but
Capsaicin,
and if I'm not eating meat, then I'm not eating anything good. So it's easy to lose weight when nothing tastes good anymore. But one of the things that we have to look at, when you talk about being pescatarian, the way that we farm out of the ocean is unsustainable. So
that's right.
we are
out the ocean,
quite literally killing the oceans at a rapid pace, just from the amount that we're bringing from our nets, and the way that we're taking shellfish. And I'm guilty as anybody. I mean, I've eaten 10 pounds of fucking snow crab that's boiled in a Cajun Vietnamese fusion ghost pepper sauce. That is,
I saw you take down a giant plate of crawdads just last weekend.
I got to take it to a snow crab place. Talk about hypocrisy. This is the best tasting food like ever.
Oh, I want to go.
It's so good. It's like they must make it with crack cocaine, because I mean, after I've already eaten 6 pounds of this, they come back. Would you like another couple of pounds? Yes, yes, I will. Please bring it.
Shit.
You know, and it's cooked in ghost pepper sauce. I mean, it's so fucking hot. I blinded myself in this restaurant twice, because like you're breaking snow crab and then suddenly a drop goes and you're like, fuck me.
Side note, just so for the fans, Aron and his wife took a bunch of us after the Shelley Siegel concert to some Indian food restaurant. It was way after midnight. I don't even know if they were supposed to be still open or not. But his wife, and one of our other members of the group, Brian, ordered the hottest thing on the menu. In fact, it wasn't even on the menu. And the guys in the back, the chefs, were literally coughing and gagging. It was like the entire restaurant got OC sprayed. People were leaving. People were ducking out. Oh, you can see me. And Aron and his wife didn't break a sweat. And poor Brian, he didn't get through half his plate. His shit was red. He was sweating. Yeah, they can handle the.
Our Brian?
Yeah, Brian Turk.
I wasn't going to say that.
On a side note,
Oh no!
I wasn't going to say that.
No, he's been on our show before. He's
I
good.
can see him eating.
Oh,
that.
his
He likes
shit.
hot
That
stuff.
sounds painful.
He tried to hang with Aron. He
No.
could not do it.
I would never
All right.
try that.
Yeah.
on a side note on all this, as the equivalencies, vegan equivalencies get closer and closer to the meat, would it be immoral for a restaurant to substitute these equivalencies for, like, if you go in to eat a steak and they give you this other substitute without telling you, and you pay for a 24.
There's no reason.
That's a good
There's
There's no reason to not tell me.
Yeah,
because
why
you're
not?
More
I know.
likely to sell it if you tell me.
Right.
Because as it is
But
already,
what I'm asking is, would it be immoral for
Yes.
a restaurant to do that?
Yes.
well, it's not only
you're
immoral,
not-
it's stupid.
You have the right to be, informed about what you're putting in your body. Like, people might have a soy allergy or whatever. Like,
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
also
That's not okay.
financially stupid because we're more likely to buy it if we know that it isn't, that it didn't involve something being slaughtered.
We got.
I mean, as it is already.
Yeah.
Well,
As it
if you're a
when
vegan.
we buy meat now, one of the things is, I mean, I used to be able to buy chicken. I could buy like a bag full of chickens, whole chickens, like in a single bag for like $3.35 or whatever. This huge, and it would feed me for a week if it's being by myself. So how cheap is that? But now we don't do the factory farming anymore. So now when we buy, it's a bunch more expensive because if we buy meat at all, we buy cruelty free. And so there has to be. I want it to be a cow that was out in the grass in the. When you drive down the road, when you drive down the road, and you see cows.
Yeah.
I will eat one of those cows, but I don't.
I'm sorry, I got to jump in. Even that cow that was free range and living a good life, it still had to walk up a gangplank, and it still had to get his throat cut, and then a pneumatic jackhammer to the head, to the temple, and it had to get it bled out into a 5-gallon bucket. No, it's not okay, guys.
Amish farms.
You understand? I'm not arguing with you. But understand that we are animals.
So I don't care.
Right? We are animals. And how did this planet work before we got here? Every cow that's out there had to protect itself against a predator. Everything that dies usually in this way or a more horrible way where it can't sustain itself until it starves.
Let me
to
put
death.
my gym cap on. Jim would say, but yes, we have a prefrontal cortex now, and we should be able to train ourselves out of that behavior
Yes,
because
transcend. Exactly.
It's not
Thank you.
civilized.
You're speaking for me.
Well, so
We should
am
be
I.
able to train.
You can remind us.
Because it's
If you're
awesome.
walking, if you're petting something and you very quietly you put this thing up against his forehead, which immediately destroys his brain.
Fucking awesome.
It doesn't even have time to be scared of anything. It goes down. But that's not what I'm advocating. I'm talking about steps of gradation. So getting out of factory farms, we move to cruelty-free. Yes, the cruelty-free thing still has to be slaughtered. So we're looking for another option. I'm not justifying anything.
Right. Yeah.
I realize that I'm going to have to go without flavor because nothing tastes better than steak. Period.
We can.
If I could lab grow some steak for you and you couldn't taste the difference, would you switch over?
In a moment.
We could move over.
Okay.
We could move.
There's hope.
In a
There's
different
hope for you
direction.
yet. It's the only thing I disagree with Aron on.
Yeah.
Because look.
What is it?
No, I'm not one of those militant vegans.
Look at during the
You
Industrial
just
Revolution.
demonstrated.
No, I'm
People were
not.
working, like,
It's just that.
16-hour
There's hope
days
for
and shit
you
like
yet.
that, right?
All right, here we
But
go.
we
I'm
moved
morally superior.
We got 28 minutes.
We now have the technology that we can produce, literally produce our own food, and we can flavor it, we can enhance it, we can put in whatever nutrients we want, we can make it out of plants, or we can lab grow it from cells, but we don't have to harvest the ocean, and we don't have to deforest the planet to raise.
We were on whiteface. We were on cultural whiteface, and we got to this.
Yeah,
No, we were clones.
Oh, clones.
That
Okay.
was the next question.
All right. So,
Because I wear a skirt. Did you see the skirt I was wearing?
it was a kill. It was. You could not mistake it.
It's little girls.
See, I'm not crazy. I'm not weird.
It's a thing.
It's a total thing.
Red hair and that green torch. There was something.
Or
about that
goth.
skirt.
If she's all gothed out with piercings
Oh,
and
you
she's
get
got the
this.
Catholic school shit on,
I
oh,
saw
even
this-
better.
I saw this- Oh my God, sexy.
You said the green because I think the traditional, just the black and the black plaid, the black and red plaid.
Green with ginger.
Oh.